Hello everyone, Bart here, and let us welcome back the month of Sulli-Ween! It's the month of Sulli-Ween again, and this year will be a very special one. Not only will I be doing the traditional top 10 list and Tim Burton movie, but this month will also have my channel's 200th episode. I won't say what it'll be, but I'm saving something good for it. And a special thanks to everyone for having my channel receive 300 subscribers and counting. So, to celebrate, and to start off this special month, let's go over the best thing of any movie. The villain. I have done top 10 lists about them before on other Sulli-Ween videos, but I want to go from animated villains to live-action villains. While not as big as the animated ones, they are still enjoyable in their own right, giving not only good performances, but ones that really do leave a huge impact, whether for better or worse. And I have my own list of baddies to go over, so get ready for a top 10 list of my top 10 favorite live-action villains. Number 10. Harry and Marv from the Home Alone movies. A comedic duo, yes, but a very funny and enjoyable pair of burglars, robbing houses and stores during the Christmas season. And while both of them do have the classic trope of duo characters, with Harry, played by Joe Pesci, as the short yet smart one, and Marv, played by Daniel Stern, as the tall yet dumb one, both of them are easily enjoyable together as they are apart. But their attempts at stealing, whenever it be items in a house or money at a toy store, they are always thwarted by one boy, Kevin McAllister. And even when attempting to get Kevin, they constantly fall for his many elaborate traps. Even when they think they figured it out, there's always something new added. But those scenes, combined with their conversations, are what makes them enjoyable and fun to watch. Their reactions, their determinations, their expressions, their screams, and their attempts at being threatening are the big highlights with them. Even though these two bumbling burglars don't get what they want, they always get what they deserve, and they're pretty funny at that. Number 9. Audrey 2 from Little Shop of Horrors. Whoever thought a man-eating plant would be this entertaining? While the character itself did exist in the original Roger Corman movie from the 60s, that one felt the least impressive, but the one from the 1986 musical has a lot more to it. Audrey 2 is a Venus flytrap-like plant raised by Seymour Krelborn at Mushnick's flower shop. But the plant has a thirst for human blood, and Audrey becomes too big for Seymour's blood, which means that Seymour stoops to the lowest level of killing people to feed his plant. But then Audrey would feed itself whenever it pleases, which leads to the fact that the plant came from outer space, wanting to spread itself across the world to devour humankind. Its design is cool and the motions for being a puppet is pretty great. But even though it's mentioned that Audrey 2 is a female plant, it's hard to acknowledge that with Levi Stubbs providing the voice, which really isn't female at all. Other than that, I have no big problems with Audrey 2. There's the great voice, the amazing design, and having such a sense of fun too. It's a monster with an appetite for human flesh, and one whose villainous plans were just the beginning. Number 8. Alex DeLarge from A Clockwork Orange. The role that brought Malcolm McDowell into the spotlight and made him a star. And while McDowell himself plays as the bad guy in every role he's in, his first film is pretty much his only good one. The Stanley Kubrick classic shows Alex as the leader of a small group of hoodlums known as droogies, who all go out at night to perform acts of ultra-violence. But Alex gets double-crossed by his own gang, and is not only arrested, but is sent to a ward that brainwashes him into being a good man. Yet everyone at his home still treats him like his old self, and really, the way he was is better than his changed self. He feels free to do whatever he wants and even has it in his own way. He's a troublemaker who takes things to an extreme level, and he does it with such joy that makes him both lovely and disturbing to watch. And by the end, when he's turned good, it looks like there's still hope for him to return to his nasty ways. It's a performance that is made good thanks to McDowell's acting and Kubrick's directing. And it's only in the first hour that shows this wondrous character. Alex might be the bad boy from his appearance, but he sure does make a good presence. Number 7. Henry Evans from The Good Son. And yes, this is real, Macaulay Culkin, just 1 year after playing Kevin McAllister in Home Alone 2, starred in a film where he's now the bad guy. And not only that, he even smokes, commits murder, and swears. But I'm getting ahead of myself. In this pretty underrated film, Henry is the cousin of Mark Evans, who has to live with his aunt and uncle while his father is out doing business, and his mother is, well, dead. Yet Henry and Mark do get along well, but as the film moves on, Henry's behavior becomes disturbing and uneasy, and it's all because of Culkin's acting. It's such a different role than the ones he usually does, and that just makes him admirable. It's fun to actually see a character like this, as he portrays what evil would be like as a kid. Sometimes it's obvious, but the way Culkin plays him makes it something unique, and you wouldn't think that a star like this would be anything special, but to me, that's how I see it. He has a diabolical nature that's good in the right ways, through his deadpan acting and little smirk. He's decently scary in the right moments, and goes to show that even a child actor can be in a villainous role. Number 6. Beetlejuice from Beetlejuice. I did mention him a bit in my review of the film on my first Sulli-Ween year, but now I'm going to add in more. Michael Keaton plays as the ghost of the most, and despite him being a bit underused in this film, he's still the most fun and provides plenty of funny moments. He's a fast talker, he's a shapeshifter, he can be rude, he can be cruel, he always makes trouble, makes great quotes, and always sees himself as a superstar. And he can only be contacted by saying his name 3 times, and coincidentally can be returned by saying his name 3 times again. He is, of course, the biggest show stealer and is one of Keaton's best-known roles, and ironically would 1 year later play as Bruce Wayne in Batman in his second film with Tim Burton. And where some of his comedic talents are used in other films, I see this one's the best. The character's weird, crazy, scary, cartoony, and he's always such a joy to watch. And much like Audrey 2 and Harry and Marv, he's a very fun villain and I enjoy every minute of him. He's not only my favorite character in the film, he's also one of my favorite comedic villains. Number 5. Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. It's kind of a rare thing for the main character to be the villain, a character you're supposed to hate but now have to relate. But once in a while it does work and you enjoy the performance for it. And this here is one of them. Played by Christian Bale, Patrick Bateman is a businessman who always keeps himself good-looking and has a positive attitude, yet strives to make his life better. But whenever one of his colleagues has something he doesn't, or show off a brand new card or suit, he murders them and takes their belongings. But even then, his killings aren't strict to just that. He killed 2 prostitutes after making out with them, and attempted to kill a friend when he thinks she's coming on to him. Yet there are some lighter elements to him like his obsession with rock groups, good food, healthy appearance, and slick fashion. But these 2 extremes make for one very unique individual, and it's interesting to see him go through all this, from being casual of what he's doing to straight up admitting his crimes. And despite the ending not having much of a payoff, the character alone really makes the whole film work. He does strive to be the perfect man, but his unhinged nature brings in some disturbing and gory results. And he's one villain that I would stand by. Number 4. Judge Doom from Who Framed Roger Rabbit. As much as I love all the characters in this movie, each one has a unique way of leaving an impression, and Judge Doom is one of the biggest. Played by Christopher Lloyd, and next best villain role to Rasputin, Doom is the judge of Toontown who tries to find and arrest Roger for the murder of Marvin Acme. Well, okay, not really arrest him, but execute the Toon by placing him in the dip, and even without questioning him. But he also has weasels to help him catch Roger, and yes, they are fun, but Doom is more better. Wearing all black, carrying a cane, wearing big glasses, and, as with any great Christopher Lloyd performance, gives great speeches and has a wondrous voice. But of course he's also the scariest when he's revealed who he is, and he still creeps me out, and I hate to see what really lies under all that clothing and human skin. Yet the way he was beforehand is a big treat for me. He may have his quirky moments at times, but he does have a menacing appearance and a great look. He's one of, if not the best live-action Disney villain to last a huge impact, whether on the outside or the inside. Number 3. Norman Bates from Psycho. Now, I haven't seen the 1998 shot-for-shot remake of this film, so I'm not going to make any connections to Vince Vaughn's take on the character. But I am going over the original movie with Anthony Perkins as Bates, and it's a fascinating role for him to take on. Norman is the owner of Bates Motel, and at first he seems like a socially awkward man, yet has a likable quality to him. But his positive nature is just the start, for his awkwardness becomes creepy and disturbing as the film moves along, revealing Norman's character slowly until the final act. And again, Perkins does great at this, trying not to give away his true self with his awkwardness and relationship with his mother. And with such an uncomfortable feeling he has, as well as the situation he's in, makes for a downright unsettling yet believable performance. But when you take into account who he really is, it makes it all the more terrifying, through Perkins' acting and Hitchcock's directing. It creates an uncomfortable and scary character. And Norman Bates has the uncertain and disturbing nature that makes him a delightful and interesting character. Number 2. Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs. Why Silence of the Lambs specifically? Well, while Anthony Hopkins plays the role fine in both Hannibal and Red Dragon, I find his role in this film to be the most memorable and better. Also known as Hannibal the Cannibal, he's a serial killer with a high level of intelligence and a very sophisticated manner. But he also has the ability to get inside one's head, in this case Clarice Starling, to get information about her, even the secrets and disturbing past, in exchange for information on another serial killer, Buffalo Bill. Sure, Lecter is not the main villain, but he really stands out above the rest of the characters. He definitely strikes a sense of intimidation with just his stares, and a level of creepiness with his smelling. He appears to be calm and collective, but his behavior shows how unknowing he could be. You know he's bad, but you don't know when or how he'll get away with it. And it's all from the power of Hopkins' performance, and he really sells it. He's frightening on a subconscious level, and manages to be elegant in an evil way, creating both a charming and scary character. And sure enough, this is one great role for a great actor. And my number 1 favorite live-action villain is Darth Vader from the Star Wars movies. Yeah, there's no denying this one. With a galaxy of characters within the Star Wars universe, Vader is definitely the biggest one out there. With a great design, the iconic breathing sound, and being voiced by James Earl Jones. In the original trilogy, he poses as a big threat to the rebellion, especially in Empire Strikes Back where he leads his troops, only to reveal to Luke who he really is in the end. And to where in Return of the Jedi, he's torn between being the Emperor's right hand and being with Luke to defeat the Emperor. And throughout the original trilogy, Vader becomes a complex character, from a standard bad guy, to a real evil menace, to being stuck in the crossfire. He's shown very little and has not a lot to him, and while it was fine, it didn't have much of a feel as the first trilogy, since the prequels show him as Anakin Skywalker. But when he appeared in Rogue One, it was such a delight to see him make a return. Sure, there's less of him, but it's more so than Episode 3, and he even delivers the best climax of any Star Wars movie. What else is there to say about him? He's the Lord of the Sith and is easily the most fun to witness. He's cool, he's powerful, he's simply the best Star Wars villain. And he is my number 1 favorite live-action villain. And that is it. So thank you for joining me. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, support me on Patreon, and tune in next week for more of Sulli-Ween.